Hey, superhero. Welcome to Superhero Sunday. I'm Sam Shelley, and they call me the Miracle Man. I'm coming to you live from New York City. It's Sunday, the 30th, right before Memorial Day. Cold, rainy day here, but that's okay. We're alive, and all things are possible. So, this is going out to the internet. So, we'll see who joins here live. But we just have to realize that we're all a superhero. It's simply this mind, the head trash, that says, no, you're not that. You're this, you're that. You're not any of those thoughts or beliefs. You're that consciousness. You're that aliveness within you. So today, as this goes out into the internet and see who wants to join in here today, but this will be shared out. So today I want to talk about the quantum shift, creating a quantum shift in our lives. So Dowie's here. Hi, Dowie. We'll see if anyone else is going to join us here. But I'm just diving into this here. So the way the format works is I'll give a short talk, then I do a little practice, then I do some Q&A. So today's all about quantum shift and what exactly is a quantum shift. Then every 2 weeks every 2 weeks I'm starting, a quantum shift circle, creating these quantum shifts in our life. So the link is under my name here, 5minutecure.com/the circle, and you can see more details on that. But it's really pay what you want. So I have different price points there. Unfortunately, the service I use does not allow you to plug in your amount like a donation. So I hopefully enough price points are in there for you to decide to join, and I plan to do these in different time zones and different days, but every 2 weeks on a Wednesday on the East Coast, 7:30. But that's going to be changing to more time zones. So really I want to talk about what is this quantum shift. It's really about literally going from a state of head trash to a state of living in our heart. And that's really the shift. And Dr. Wayne Dyer talked about this a lot, that we're trying to create this consciousness shift. I don't know if you ever saw his movie, The Shift. I'd really recommend that. It really makes some good points. That we're living this certain reality based on our mindset, these beliefs, these opinions, these memories, these stories. But that's not really the truth of who we are. And I bring in the quantum because our thoughts are creating our reality. So if you're in a place of fear, worry, stress, focusing on your ailments, your diseases, that's going to magnify because it's directing consciousness a certain direction. But we have to realize that we are consciousness. And once we live from the heart and operate from here, the 0 point, then you can really manifest the world of your desires. But if you're up in here, it gets really a confusing mess. The universe doesn't really know what you want. You're not clear. Part of you is saying, I intend to create this. But then your mind saying, no, 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 you can't have that. So it's kind of a mixed message. So we just need to really relax. That's the first step to creating a quantum shift, is to relax. To realize that you have all these stories, all these thoughts, but you are not your stories. You are not your thoughts. You are not your past experiences. You were being shaped by your past experiences, but you are not them. And I know I was really identified with my past. I was always attaching to my labels, my MS, my bipolar. But once I shifted that consciousness, they no longer are there. They no longer serve a purpose. And I see a lot of diseases are there to serve a purpose, to help you remember who you are. And that may be really hard to understand when you're in the midst of chaos, the mayhem of being sick. But I see, after being sick for nearly 37 years, and that I'm not sick now, it was simply the universe trying to get my attention. So I was getting progressively sicker and sicker and sicker until I discovered who I was. So if I wasn't my thoughts, wasn't my beliefs, wasn't my labels, then who was I? We are all perfect spirit, and that's the superhero within all of us. We are that. We are infinitely powerful, and all possibilities and potentials. As I said, it's a rainy, cold day here, but that's okay. I'm alive. Everything is possible. If it's not possible, it's the mind creating a story. So maybe the mind could be a really simple story. It's bad weather. I can't go for my walk today. That's nonsense. As L.L. Bean once said, there is no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. So we can always find a way. But are we willing to find that way? Because it's so easy to complain, to blame, to become a victim of life. But we have to see that we have choices to go with the mind who's always complaining, finding the lack, or blazing a different path. And change is very hard for the mind. The mind does not like change, and it resists it at every opportunity. Because change requires new energy, stepping into the unknown. The mind doesn't care if you're in pain, if you're suffering, because it's familiar. That keeps you trapped in the head trash loop. But to blaze that new path into your true self requires of not knowing the outcome, just focusing on the next step and the next step and the next step. And even the Bhagavad Gita, the great Indian text, always mentioned, focus on the labor, the task at hand, not the fruits, not the end goal, but right here, right now. What can you do right here, right now to live your best life? It's to be quiet and allow that wisdom to rise up within you. So that's one thing I always talk about. It's one thing to intellectualize these words, but to really know is to experience. That's why on each Sunday I do a short, 5-10 minute meditation. So you have that experience. So it's no longer a theory, because a lot of the time the mind bases these opinions, these judgments, without actually having the experience. But you don't really know till you have that experience. But sometimes we don't really want to have those experiences. Sometimes like, oh, I should try this. Or everyone else is doing this. Let me try this too. But if your intuition is saying, no, don't do that, that's not your path, then don't have that experience. Learn to trust that voice. That you don't need to have all these experiences. If spirit is saying, don't do this, then don't. I mean, your mind will try to logic it out why you should. Did you ever have those cases where you're going to do a task and you have this insight to go do it this way, but your mind says, no, that's not going to work. Go do it this way. And you look back with regret and it's like, why did I spend all these hours doing it this way? I should have listened to myself and done it the first way. That's how spirit works. Spirit gives that first voice. Then the inner voice comes along screaming at you, telling you why the first voice isn't correct. So let's dive into a little practice here today and see what comes about. So I'm calling this the quantum shift meditation, but it's a little bit different when I'm in the group. I'm collecting the intentions from everyone, and I'm tuning into everyone and physically coming to them and making adjustments accordingly, or my team is. So here is a little bit one-sided. I'm not getting opinions of the group. I'm just going for it, if you will. And I'm just going to get quiet though, and what I normally do, and just channel. Channel basically means I'm connected to all that is and allowing the information from all that is to flow through me like a conduit. And that's what I do in my circles. I get this out of the way, open myself up, and just allow the universe to speak with you. And I usually identified some of those players that usually come through. And for me, it's Galen, Paracelsus, Melchizedek sometimes, Mary, Michael, Metatron, and there's a whole slew of them that like to come through. But anyhow, let's dive into this meditation today and see what comes through. So we're just sitting here relaxing. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to accomplish. We simply allow the eyes to close, to soften, to remove the external stimulations. We don't want that mind to constantly be triggered, so we close the eyes. So as we're just sitting here relaxing, so the divine love within me connects to the divine love within you. We are connected. We are one. We just keep relaxing, allowing the grace from the heavens to descend. And it's always descending. This golden energy from the universe is always pouring over us, filling us with insights, with clarity. It's simply the mind creating that busyness, which puts up the umbrella, if you will, of this grace. Today we're putting away the umbrella and allowing grace to flow through unimpeded, without objections or restrictions. As this energy continues to descend down, we just feel our spiritual team coming forward, surrounding us with love. And we're just feeling more at peace the more we come into this moment. And allow our spiritual team to surround us, to fill us with love, with peace, reminding us that all is well. Reminding us that all of our power is right here, right now. We don't need to chase the mind. We don't need to be surrounded with busyness. Just take a moment when you face something to reflect what is best for you. So we have to realize the busy mind filled with head trash is preventing us from shifting into our consciousness, our spirit, our soul. We don't want to get hung up on the words, the language, but that within you that cannot be accurately described. It's the life force within you, that aliveness. We're setting the intention today for this to drive the human experience, as opposed to the mind dragging us all over the human experience, dragging us into stress, worry, fear, overwhelm, overthinking, paralysis from taking action, from fear. That who am I to do this? Why me? Well, why not you? You're here to make a dent, an impression on the world, to allow those that come before you to live a simpler, easier life. But if life is complicated, this is the head trash. We're letting all this relax so we can shift into perfect spirit, our consciousness. Then once we're in spirit, we are at the quantum level, the level of pure intention, pure energy. And we can create all of the forms from this place. So the more peace you feel, the more aligned you are with your soul. So if you're not there, don't judge, don't condemn yourself. Bring yourself back to this moment. Keep feeling this peace. And we're intending for your spiritual team to take away all that noise, all that distraction, so you can really feel this peace, so you can anchor this in. So when the mind gets busy, you can come back to this anchor. For once the door is open to your true self, it could never be closed. For you can go back to that sense of peace and realize this peace is the real you. This sense of love, of belonging, of knowing all is well, is your true home. Your true home of spirit, of soul. So just keep feeling this peace. As the team is just surrounding you with love, and they have their hands up, and they're just pouring all this pink light from their hands, creating this cocoon around you, wrapping you, surrounding you in love. You just feel so much peace in this place. Maybe you begin to smile. Maybe you begin to cry. Whatever it is, we don't resist. For crying removes all that stuck, stagnant energy. Maybe you've been too hard on yourself, criticizing, judging, condemning yourself. And we're letting all this release. So once you're anchored in peace, you can set the intention, not worried about the house. Just set an intention. Start with something small so you can trust and believe in the power of spirit when it does arrive. And it will arrive in the perfect time, the perfect place. Because there's no time and space to spirit. It's always the right time. Always the now. Always in this moment. Not the past, not the future, but right here, right now. And we let go of the need to figure out things, the busyness, the steps, the how. We just let all that go. And we just trust the next step will arrive, and the next step, and the next step, until the intent becomes reality. Because you're the director of the quantum field. If you're directing from a place of peace, of quietness, of stillness, of love, without the distractions of the mind. Keep feeling this peace, this love that surrounds you, this joy. And trust all is well. But we do not need to spend hours upon hours in meditation to achieve a quantum shift. A few minutes a day is enough to allow the mind to settle in. And for some, maybe peeling back like the layers of an onion. Just keep sitting for a few minutes quietly. Allow the layers to peel, but never forcing things. We just want to sit long enough, and then when the distractions come, and we cannot come back to this moment, we get up and we do something different. No judgment, no criticism. This is not work. This is not a project. It's a practice. So we want to let go of any charged words like hard work, difficulty, challenging. It's simply a practice of being quiet, being still. No judgment, no criticism. You simply notice and you come back. This is a place of unconditional love for yourself. And this love will move mountains, one pebble at a time. As we want to ease back into this human experience, maybe by feeling your feet on the floor, maybe feeling your hands, and just coming back to here, the now, this moment where all of our power is. As you come back, feel yourself nice and refreshed, fully in your power. And don't worry, don't be upset if the mind drags you back into the story. It's part of the game the mind plays. It's the I lost it, I got it game. But like as we said, once that door to your true self is open, it cannot be fully closed. You simply notice when the memories, the stories come. You're like, oh, I see you. You're not my truth. Now, where are my feet? Where are my hands? What do I see? And just get yourself back to this moment, for all your power is here. The mind loves the difficulties and complexities, but it's a very simple practice. So maybe the mind's dragging you around for miles upon miles, but that's okay. Just notice your feet when you become aware. That's all it is. Just notice what you see when you become aware that you've been lost in the stress, the worry, the anxiety. Just become aware. That's the practice. Very easy, very gentle. So for a longer experience, you can join the circle, pay what you want, and we go for like 45 minutes to an hour. And that's based on the group's intent. Every time I do it, it is different. No two practices are the same. Just right for that moment. So I just want to feel what the energy is, the reminder is. So I got my Oracle energy deck here. I just want to see what the energy is for today. Let's see what the energy, the focus on today. Setting the intent, what's the focus for today? Okay. Then I'll see if there's any questions for anyone that's watching live, or you can leave comments and I come by and answer them later. That's fine too. Let's see what that energy is of today. Let's see what direction we're supposed to move in today. Let's take a look. The energy of inner strength. Perfect. Remember, we are the light. We are that. We are one with all that is. Infinite power, infinite strength. One pebble at a time. No rules, no restrictions. We have the power to move mountains. It's simply the mind creating darkness, that dark night of the mind, trying to steal your strength, your joy, your happiness. It's just creating that lampshade, the dark night of the mind. We can rip that off and tap into our true light, our true essence. So I'm here if there's any questions, or you can leave comments if you're watching this on a replay. But the biggest thing we can do for ourselves is let go of all the worry, all the stress, all the anxiety. To realize everything's operating under a divine plan that we could never understand. This divine plan to awaken to our true self, and for society to awaken to its true self. So when we see these murders, these crimes, we may not understand it, but we have to realize it's for the greater good of the human society, even though it seems cruel at times. Sometimes it's a necessary evil, if you will. That the universe is constantly repeating lessons to get the humans to wake up to their soul and just realize the people that are victims, if you will, their soul never dies. They are that energy. So yes, their body may drop away, maybe too soon, but I have faith, confidence, they will come back for this human experience, maybe as an activist or some other aspect to make an impact on what happened in their previous lifetime. But there are no mistakes in the universe. Very hard to understand this, but there are no mistakes. There's a great divine plan we don't have access to, but ultimately it's there to awaken to our true self as perfect spirit, the essence, our life force, whatever you wish to call it. So I'm not seeing any questions, any comments here. So maybe this is just enough for today. But let go of any need for work, difficulties, challenges. You can achieve a quantum shift just a few minutes of practice a day. I began with 5 minutes a day. There's no more MS or bipolar today. Nobody can quantify that because spirit is beyond definition. It doesn't follow the rules. It's the place of miracles. Okay, I'm going to head off, sending you love, for love is the true answer to all your issues, all your challenges. Approach it from a sense of love. All right, Dali, thanks for watching. And everyone else that's watching, thank you. Take good care of yourself, and I'll talk to you, next week for Superhero Sunday. I'm unsure if we're doing soul messages tonight, tomorrow. Not really sure. But I know every Wednesday, starting on the 9th, I will be doing the quantum shift circles, pay what you want. And then I'm going to add in different times for Europe and Asia. So maybe for Europe, it would be 2 or 3 o'clock circles. For my afternoon, which would be your evenings. And maybe, like either like a 1 a.m. class for ASPAC. So it's like your early evening there. Or maybe a 6 a.m. class. I'm not really sure. But it's not really a class. It's really to awaken your own perfect spirit, your own inner healer, your own manifester, and get out of the nonsense. Get out of the stories that aren't serving you. All right. Bye for now.